The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. I hope all of you are good and can hear me and see me. Can you please confirm? Just confirm in the questions panel that you can hear me. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Veena. Okay, thank you so much. Now that all of you can hear me and see me, now this is going to be our first webinar of 2022. Unfortunately, the previous one that we planned was we were not able to conduct that due to certain medical emergencies on our side. But yeah, I think things are good now, and here we are with another QuantInsti webinar. So hello again, and welcome to this session. And today's webinar topic is predict daily stock prices and automate a day trading strategy. And this session has two project presentations by two of our esteemed EPAT alumni. The first one on predict daily stock prices with random forest classifier, technical indicators, and sentiment data by Renato Votto from the UK. And the second one is on how to automate an option day trading strategy by Ujjwal Agrawal from India. Now, the format of this entire session is very simple. Like each presenter will deliver their EPAT project work, they'll present their work, and then we'll be answering a few questions. So feel free to ask all the questions that you have, and we will try to answer as many as possible. All right, so without taking any more time, I would like to introduce our first speaker of the day, Renato Votto, who is a data analyst from the United Kingdom. And welcome, Renato. Are you here with us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. If you can turn on your camera, I mean, all of us can see you.
Sure.
So about Renato, so Renato genuinely enjoys and thrives on developing software for automation, finding algorithmic solutions for complex problems, and optimizing programs. He possesses a quantitative edge and is proficient in algorithmic trading, and also quant development, machine learning, data engineering, Python, C++, and SQL. I mean, there are so many things. All right, and Renato has a background in energy engineering and is an alumnus of EPAT program by QuantInsti. And before enrolling in EPAT, he had also completed machine learning and data engineering studies. Currently working as an analyst at the Office for Gas and Electricity Markets. He is mainly involved in the development of software and tools for quantitative analysis and systematic identification of market manipulation. He is a cryptocurrencies enthusiast as well, and avid rock and roll listener, and also love to code, obviously, and then a mediocre guitar strummer. And when he is outdoors, you might find him taking weird photographs as well. So welcome, Renato. So many things we talked about here, and we are very excited to host you in this session today and to look forward to it. Basically, the knowledge and the kind of project that you have had created for EPAT program. So we are all very excited, and now I will make you the presenter, so you can take over from here.
Sure.
And the stage is yours. Thank you, Renato.
I hope everyone can see the screen, right?
Yes, I can see, and I think a few of people can confirm in the questions panel as well.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, let's get started then. Yeah. Thanks. He give you a very good presentation of me. I don't think there's anything else to add on that. We can just go ahead with the presentation of this project. Yeah, as you said, I'm involved with market manipulation within the UK energy market at Ofgem, which is the market regulator here in the United Kingdom. And yeah, I developed this project which tries to leverage machine learning, and some natural language processing for predicting stock prices. So yeah, I will just carry on with the presentation and go through some of the steps and observation about this project. So what pushed me to complete this project at the end of the course, of the EPAT course? The first was consolidating knowledge, because as you guys know, I had some backgrounds in Python programming, data engineering, and machine learning, and so after EPAT, I wanted to put together all these and try to make a full project where I will start with gathering data and get to the end with the price predictions. So this was a way for me to put everything together and work on a end-to-end project. Also, I knew that by doing this, I will gain new skills, improve my programming skills, my quantitative finance knowledge. And also, I was curious to, exploring the power of machine learning and natural language processing in trading, because nowadays it's very commonly used by trading firms. And as last, let's say, objective, I had in mind to build something that was reusable, so that me and everyone else could, recycle this code for doing their own analysis or implementing strategies, backtesting strategies. So these were the main motivations behind my choice to go ahead with this project. When it comes to the steps, it really takes some time to understand what you have to achieve and how you are going to achieve it, because we're talking here about probably 3,600 lines of code. Surely you can do something that's shorter, simpler. But I opted for a more enclosed and more designed program, and we will see why then. But the steps that I really followed was defining the problem, which is going from the data to so price data to the final predictions. Designing a program structure. How do you want to design and implement the program? How do you want the program to look and to be used? And then, using functional and object-oriented paradigms, which are very common within the software development industry. And then, after having, the first version of the program and the project, I've tried to bring improvements and new features. Before finishing, I had to, test usability, because the program is very interactive. And then, of course, you want also to be sure that the figures you come with at the end are reliable. And so all the calculations, results, and all the figures that you have make sense. So these were the main steps. Let's start with the overview. As I said, I coded a lot of code for the final aim to have a little to be messed up with when it comes to the user. And so basically we have 9 steps that allow you to use my program. And the first one is providing some details within this dictionary. And you pass in the stock you want to analyze, the dates on the time frame. And then, because here we run a scraping from Twitter, you can pass some parameters that are related to Twitter accounts and keywords for hashtags and searching those posts. And that's it. These are the parameters you pass in to, let's say, define your analysis on the stock, the time frame, and the Twitter content. And then we go ahead and we have few methods that will basically exploit the whole program. The first thing you do is to initialize a pipeline, which is a direct acyclic graph in this case, where all the functions get pushed in, and each function output will feed the next function input. So you initialize a pipeline, you call the run method of the instance of the pipeline, which is our third step. And then you basically end up with the data, and the data will be the data set where the program will compute the backtesting calculation. So once you have the data, you retrieve those data and you initialize, in our fifth step, the backtest strategy. Now, this backtest strategy class has few methods, which we will see in the next slide. Like in point 6, we can pre-process data, which means take care of missing values, outliers, anything that has to do with cleaning the data, manipulating the data so that we can feed correctly the machine learning algorithm. And then you can start training the model with the 7th method and test the model. All these steps are, let's say, recursive and interactive, so that basically once you call one of these methods, you will be prompted with a menu driven program, and you will just input data as you are interacting with any other application within your environment of development. And yeah, you can write files, you can save files, you can delete files from this program which are related to the machine learning model, and the program will do everything for you. At the end, there's the last method, which is strategy performance, and you basically call that to end up with your plots and tables that will show the result of the strategy, which we will see in the next slide. So this is one of the tables that get as an output. So as we see, we have the return of the buy and hold strategy as well as the annualized return, and then we have the returns of the trading strategy. And then we have few more parameters like Sharpe ratio, the total number of trades that the backtesting carried out, the hit ratio, which is how many trades were successful, and then you have what was the average profit for each trade, what was the average loss for each trade, the maximum drawdown, so how much when your account down, its maximum figure, and how many days it took to recover from that drawdown. And this is one of the outputs that the program will give you to analyze your strategy, whether it is worth to be further developed or implemented. And then you have some graphs. This is for the drawdown, so you will see you have what we have seen as 1.42 we have here on the graph, and it happens around probably that was March 2020, so when the pandemic started. And yeah, so you find visualization of those figures on your plots, and you can have a sense check, and then you have the returns plotted, and these just compare the buy and hold strategy, which means just buying the stock and holding the stock on the same time frame, as opposed to if we were trading according to the strategy. And so we have here in orange, we have the trading strategy. We see it's a very steady curve up, which was catching towards the end also returns that the stock couldn't do. It was just falling. So these, let's say, can give us how the strategy performed along the time frame. And again, we can see in March 2020, when the stock went down because of the wider market going down, the strategy kept making money, which is, I mean, it's good to see. However, you guys still have to take in account all the simplifications that a program like this brings when compared to actually live trading the strategy. One of the last improvements I did was to include transaction fees into the backtesting strategy, and also the option to pass in how much of your account you are trading at each trade, because those are circumstances that you have in real trading. And so yeah, this was one of the latest improvement I did. And once you tweak these parameters, you can see how the strategy changes in terms of total returns as opposed to the buy and hold strategy. Yeah, this is pretty much basically how you use the program. At the end of this webinar, you will have links to the GitHub repository. So if you want to, get your hands dirty with the program, feel free to do it. Clone the repository, recycle this program, use this program for your own research or just to understand or experiment. But yeah, you will see that the program is very, very easy to use, and everything is documented on my GitHub repository page. And yeah, challenges. What were the challenges whilst trying to finish this program? Some parts of the program were complex because I decided to implement this interactive menu where you basically are prompted by the program to insert data, and because all the methods are linked to each other, so that if you call a method, it may call another method if the program is missing some data. This was quite of a tangled design, and so requires some extra thinking and extra development. Eventually it was worth to do it because the program is very easy to use and very straightforward. Some other challenges were ad hoc solutions for some performance metrics computation, like calculating how many days of drawdown. At least that was the way I found to solve this. But again, if anyone wants to have a look and has a better, more elegant solution, I'm really happy to hear any other opinion or solution, and yeah, that would be great. And then surely not to disregard time and ability to focus and work-life balance, because sometimes when you work full-time and you want to dedicate your free time to these kind of projects, it may be very challenging. You need to understand when you can deliver, when you have to take a break. So with this, let's see how I overcome these challenges. The first thing is that if you have a complex design in mind, I found very helpful to draw schemes and diagrams on a whiteboard. I still have some of these schemes on the whiteboard because it really took me a while. I had to visualize what I was designing, and then whenever some of the steps you're stuck, you can't really figure out how to write the code for that. Write pseudocode. Pseudocode is just writing sentences of what you want to achieve, and then you go line by line, replacing those comments with actual code. That's very helpful because it allows you to first think and then have in front of your eyes what is that you want to achieve, and then from there to writing the code is very simple. So pseudocode, very helpful. And also taking long breaks and doing something else, going for a walk. It seems silly, but sometimes you get stuck in something because your brain is at that point is biased. You can't think of any other solution. Just go away from where you are, do something else, just get distracted, and you'll see that the solution will come to your mind without you even thinking of it. And surely, Googling your problems, because someone else surely had the same the same problem and they resolved it in a way. You want to understand what the other did, how they fixed that, and you will, at the end of this process, you will learn a lot of stuff, and you will have also your solution. And the achievements, sure, I had the chance to consolidate, my knowledge about quantitative finance by doing this project, because many things I have to look for literally study and learn and understand, and also programming skills, because the program really required me to try and grasp new paradigms, new style of programming, and new tools. And then as I, like my motivation of, trying machine learning, here you can really see how machine learning can be powerful in predicting, the next day's stock price and make a winning strategy. And last, but really very important, I feel I gain confidence in, managing a project from the start to the end, which is a very important thing when you want to be a bit entrepreneurial and try to, to accomplish your own objectives. That's very important. I see many people, starting 100 things but never finish one. Start one, finish that, and you'll be, a bit more confident with yourself that you are able actually to do that, and then make things, more complicated and take the next step. Well, as for the next steps after this project, that will be for me to study new strategies, probably with different assets, and also in crypto, which I'm recently interested in, sharing and expanding knowledge with other enthusiasts. I also have a blog that will be passed to you, where I publish, posts about quantitative finance and programming, and then, researching new strategies, different machine learning models, and eventually I would really like to find a couple of, profitable strategies, and the next step will be implementing them in a live trading set. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, these are my contacts.
Wow.
I don't know if the audience will be, this will be shared, but I guess so. Anyone can ask just in the question.
Yes. So to everyone of those who are asking if this session is going to be recorded, obviously, yes, it is going to be recorded. If you attend QuantInsti webinars, you can go on our QuantInsti's YouTube channel and see all the past webinar recordings as well. So obviously, it is going to be recorded. And this entire code and project work, yes, that is also going to be available, will be shared with you. Apart from that, I think I'm getting tons and tons of questions, and I will try to cover as many as possible quickly. So the first one that I have shortlisted is asked by Raj. So Raj asks, using OpenAI Gym here, so what's the ML library used here?
Scikit-learn.
Okay, so scikit-learn. Okay, all right. The next question is, you mentioned that you undertook this project after EPAT. Can you share what resources, staff, alumni, instructor, etc. you leverage in for that? This question is asked by Jan Kwok.
Well, many of the concepts that were taught during the EPAT, but honestly, a lot of stuff I have to just Google it, because it was just more precise for me as that matter to be looked into. If that answered the question.
Yes, that. Okay. I hope, Jan, that answers your question. The next one is, does the program be used in cryptocurrency? This one is asked by Matteo.
It can be used in cryptocurrency. Of course, you have to be careful about how long will be the data that you will be able to retrieve, because cryptocurrencies may not be listed for a long time. And also, if you're using also the sentiment analysis part of the program, again, you need to what you need to be sure is that that project is on the market since a long time, so you have enough data to train the machine learning model. Otherwise, your model won't be trained properly.
All right.
But yes, you can use it for cryptocurrencies.
So I hope that question is answered, Matteo. I'll just. All right. The next one. Now, this one is very interesting. So Kane Elston asks, appreciate these tips to overcome challenges. How many 3 a.m. finishes did you have?
I must say some, but not many, because I was able to be productive during the day. But yes, I had some late days, but I had some full day development, like from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay. Yeah, still, so it doesn't matter whether it's late or not, but yeah, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of focus. So I think that is something that Renato was definitely spending on his side. All right. The next one is by Alessandro. He asked, very good statistics. Your program is running live, and how it is doing in the live market, if yes.
Can you repeat the question, please?
So Alessandro is saying good statistics. Is your program running in the live markets right now? If yes, then how is it the performance?
No, it's not running in live market. Someone who was playing with the repository and the program, I think, did. There were some issues, but those issues were just related to the fact that that person will have, changed some parameters, and so it changed what my program was doing. But anyway, those were experiments. So no, not from my own. Probably later I'll implement that.
Okay, all right. Next question is by Shrikant. He asks, how much time did it take for you from start to completion?
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
All right. And so many questions. In fact, I'll pick up a few questions from YouTube as well. So there's this question. How many years of data did you use to train the model? Are you only using Tesla daily prices to train it? This question is asked on YouTube by Bosco.
Yeah, those are daily prices, and basically since the inception of Tesla on the market, so I think it was 2009. So it's probably 10 years of training data, and then a couple of years for the testing of the model. Yeah.
Okay. The next question that we have is from James Castro. What he asked is, what did you do on your model to reduce risk?
To reduce risk, well, really, you can't do much on a machine learning model to reduce risk, other than assess that he guesses a reasonable or an acceptable amount of trades. So that because machine learning is, any model is kind of a black box, so you don't know what is doing while after it's trained. And so you can look at that after you've trained and test your model to understand whether those trades were profitable. So yeah, in terms of risk, the only parameters you can look is whether the most part of the trades were profitable. And of course, if that is related to improving the model, then yeah, you need to. I did cross validation for making sure that the model was trained correctly, and looked at some bias variance of the model, and how reliable were the various run of the training. If that answered the questions.
Okay, thanks, Renato. So I think I'm getting a lot of questions. I'm just trying to filter out some of the most relevant ones. So I would really like to say that those who are asking questions and your questions are not picked here right now, please be rest assured that these questions will be answered later by our team. So don't have to worry. Just ask as many questions as possible, and we'll make sure that all of your questions are addressed by any of our team members here. All right. So the next quick one is by Shubhankar. He asks, do you not like sitting, or are you just burning calories?
Yeah, I'm standing at the moment. I don't know. I prefer, doing these things standing. I alternate sitting on the desk and standing. So this was the moment I was standing.
Yes. Okay, this one now. This one is by Alon. Elon asks, can you predict prices in short time frames like minutes?
Yes, I mean, it really the program is kind of agnostic to the time frame, as long as the data he's trained with is good, and the training is carried out correctly. Surely that brings many other implications and complications, because you really need to be careful around transaction fees and that kind of stuff, because you may end up doing 1,000 trades per day. So yeah.
Okay. All right. I hope that answers your question, Alan. The next one is did you need a specialized high-power PC to do the training? So this
No,
one is by again Kane. Okay,
it
all
it
right.
took 5 hours, 6 hours to train the model. I just let my iMac going, but with an iMac, I mean, I didn't need, you know, a GPU, or that is more for deep learning and neural networks. When you're training a model like this, because I did a lot of combinations of parameters, so I ran a grid search of the parameters. I had many combinations, like probably 15,000 combinations. So the computer had to run all those combinations and eventually come with a model. It took probably 6 hours.
Okay.
But it's feasible if you have to do it once.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Kane.
Yeah.
This one is by Ankit. The question is, can programming a strategy beat discretionary system?
Sorry, say again. Can programming
a strategy beat discretionary system?
Yes, definitely, and that's why it's used, you know, algorithmic trading, because overall you have a statistical confidence that most of the trades that you do are profitable. It may not be, but there are good chances that if you set up a good algo trading strategy, it's more profitable than a discretionary one.
Okay. I think so many questions. I'm going to pick this one. It is by Zachary. So he asks, I'm a US based. Do you suggest international offshore brokers as an option?
What broker? Sorry.
So the question is, he is based out of US. So do you suggest international offshore brokers as an option?
I don't know what this question is about. If it's about using a broker, you really need to use a broker that allows you to, if you want to implement the strategy, you just need to look for whether they have an API for you to be productive in implementing the strategy live. And then, of course, you know, transaction fees and how the account is, what are the agreements on the account.
Okay. Okay, so same question as question from the same person, and that is, what's the suggested time frame in general, and are they specific in relation to your specific model?
Sorry, what is the statistic?
So the question is, what's the suggested time frames in general? So what is the suggested time frame in general, and are they specific to your specific models?
Not really. I mean, if it's talking about the prices, I just went for daily prices because that you know, it's easier. It was easier to do for the implementation of the program and also for the Twitter stuff. But I mean, with some more tweaking, you can use 6 hours or 4 hours or 2 hours. But it really depends on what you want to achieve as a strategy. Do you want an intraday strategy? Do you want a daily strategy, or what? I wanted a daily strategy because I thought it was a first good step to understand how all this was working. But yeah, you can change those and come to a smaller, more granular time frame with ease.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Zachary. Okay, this is the last one, and that is from my side. Okay, and my question to you is, like, what were your expectations from EPAT program before you joined, and how did it turn out after you completed the EPAT?
My expectations were that I will have at least the basis for and the fundamentals to understand what algo trading is all about, and then surely you can't expect that you will go from you know, zero to being algo trader or quant developer at the end. But you have all the instruments. I can say that at the end of the course, you have all the instruments, all the fundamentals to then, you know, choose what you want to specialize in. or if you have already a specialization, how to better implement and expand that knowledge. So yeah, I would say you'll be given all the fundamentals, but also advanced stuff for you then to develop stuff like this, or go further and implement your strategy.
All right. So I think that's it for the questions at this point. I think now we'll move on to the next presentation. Thank you, Renato, so much for this first presentation. And I think we'll have a few more words at the end of this, like the second presentation together. Thank you so much, Renato. So now I will move to our, thank you. Now I'll move to our second speaker. So the second speaker of the day is Ujjwal Agrawal. So, hey Ujjwal, are you here with us? Can you turn on your camera?
Yeah, hi Kshitij.
Wonderful. So, yeah, I think, yeah, we can see you. All right. So, Ujjwal, okay. So about Ujjwal, so Ujjwal is a quantitative trader and a business owner from India. And Ujjwal Agrawal is a CFA level 3 candidate and has a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Pune University. He is a business owner in the agri-processing industry in Odisha and has been trading in the Indian markets from last 4 years. Managing a business and trading full time becomes difficult at times, and this led him towards automating his trading setups. Uh, Completing the EPAT course and with the help of unconditional support from QuantInsti team, Ujjwal has now completely automated his trading setups and devotes his full time towards his businesses. His project, Intraday Straddles, was the first setup to be fully automated among many, and how he researches and combines uncorrelated setups to generate decent returns with minimum drawdowns. So again, welcome, welcome to today's session, Ujjwal, and we are looking forward to your project work, and I'll just share the presentation rights with you. Now you can share your screen.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kshitij, for a great introduction. And welcome everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you are. And so the agenda for today is like I wanted to present and showcase my project that I did during the EPAT session that I did in like 2020. And what was my motivation behind it, what were the challenges that I faced, and what were the learnings that I got from the program. And like let's get to the motivation part. Why and how I like joined QuantInsti in the first place. So I was a discretionary trader like for a long time in the Indian markets, and like it led to certain disruptions here and there in my businesses as well. So I decided to like completely automate it, and the best solution that I found was the EPAT program, and it led me to like start researching multiple systems which I can like deploy in my portfolio. And the most important part, I wanted to have a stress-free trading life. So the approach that I used in this project was first of all, I did the data collection, and after the data collection, I did the backtesting part. The backtesting was done in Python and Jupyter Lab. And when the backtesting was done and the results were good enough, I moved on to the front testing part, which if and when like the results were like in sync with the backtesting results, we can move on to the deployment, live deployment in a real trading account. And after that, I did the performance evaluation. And so first of all, like let me tell you a bit about the trading strategy that I'm doing. So what we what I do is like in the morning when the Indian markets open at 9:15, at some point after that, like I open at the money, I sell at the money call and put, and put individual leg stop losses, and those are like squared off by 3 o'clock or 3:15 at whatever time based on the back test. And after that, this is like the basic strategy. It's very simple, and I wanted to backtest it for the last like 2 to 3 years, as long as I can. So let me come to the data and the systems that I used. So the data that I used was for the Nifty and Bank Nifty futures and options data, and the time frame that I used was 1 minute data. And because the data availability is very scarce for intraday data, so I use only like 2 years data for the project. And after that, that data for 2 years was from March 2019 to March 2021, which included the 1 year of COVID. And before that, when the low volatility period was there, it was for one period. So it had a good mix of different volatility regimes as well. So after 2021 March, I did the 11 months of like front testing, and in the system for the back testing, I've used Jupyter Lab for the coding part, and for front testing, I used like paper trading and live deployment in interactive brokers. So for the execution part, I used Interactive Brokers API and Spider IDE for execution, and the results were analyzed via Python and Excel. So let me tell you a bit more about the parameters that I'll be using. So basically, I will be using like Nifty and Bank Nifty, and for the straddles and strangles part, so there is something called a strike difference. So when its value is 0, it is for straddle, it means that at the money call and put are being sold. And for strangles, so let's say if the value is 100, so I'll be selling like a call of 100 plus strike price above the at the money, and for the put side it will be 100 points below the at the money strike. And so in that way a strangle is created and it's sold, and for that the performance is analyzed. And the third parameter that I'm using is the stop loss levels. So I'll be analyzing from 5 to 50% stop losses, so and check whether like which stop loss is giving us the best results. So this is just a sneak peek into my code, and there are different classes that I've used for backtesting. So there are two classes basically. One is backtest preparation and there is one backtest strategy. So first I'm creating a backtest preparation object, class object, and in that I'm giving the parameter for Bank Nifty. So for the 11 minutes time that you can see on the screen, so for the 11 minutes, it is preparing it is collecting the futures data for Bank Nifty, futures front month contract, and it is collecting it in a single data frame. And for the options as well, it is doing the same thing. So that is taking around 11 minutes. And after that, I'm this 0.3 here is the stop loss parameter that I'm using. So for 30% stop loss, this strategy is back tested, and this takes around 31 minutes to complete. So what it is doing in that is it is populating a empty data frame that I've created. So in that, everything is noted down at what particular day it is, what expiry it is using, what call strike price it is using, what is the entry price, what is the stop loss, what is the profit and loss of that day, what is the same criteria for put, and after that total what is the profit and loss for that particular day, and what was the reward to risk ratio for that day. So in that way, it is collecting every data, and it is populating this data frame. And it is doing that for almost 2 years, because 2 years is my backtest period. So it's almost like 491. This is just the last 5 lines of the like data frame. So let's come to the results after that. So these are the backtesting results. And for the 2 years that I backtested, I'm assuming that the initial capital that I'm using is 3 lakh rupees. And like the margin required for selling one lot of at the money call and put, it's around 1.8 lakhs. But I'm assuming that will require 3 lakhs for just to be on the safer side. And I'm earning like 3,15,000 net of costs after cutting everything like brokerage and transaction charges and everything. So I'm like getting 3,15,000 returns, which on an annualized basis is 52.9%. And the hit ratio that I got was like 72%. But I like to calculate normalized hit ratio, so which weighs down the like average daily profit and losses as well. So in the hit ratio, what we do is like we take the number of wins and divide it by the total number of days. So in the normalized hit ratio, what we do is we take the number of wins multiplied by the average daily profit, and we divide it by the number of wins into number of average daily profit plus the number of losses and the average daily loss that we suffered. So it gives a realistic picture of what hit ratio we are getting. And the Sharpe ratio that we are getting is 3.78. And this is like what the equity curve looks like for the 2 years backtesting. And I am plotting a 3-month simple moving average on it. So as you can see, like it is a very good support for the equity curve, which I like to do. I like to implement technicals on my equity curve as well. So like by this point in time, like you must be feeling like it's quite rosy and looking very good for an equity curve and the strategy. But now let's come to the front testing part. So these are the results for the 11 months of front testing that I've done. And this is done on the live trading market. I've traded it live and done the front testing. And the results that I've got is like approximately 70,000 rupees in 11 months, which comes to almost 25% on an annualized basis. And the hit ratio that I've got is like 59.5%, and the Sharpe ratio is 2.55. So as you can see from the equity curve, it is quite flat, and the strategy has not performed as per the expectations in this period. So this could be like a result of a couple of things. Like it may be that the strategy has stopped working, or it's in a drawdown phase right now. Multiple things can be the case. So let's look at the equity curve for the backtesting and the front testing period combined. So as you can see, the equity curve is like trying to break, and it has already broken the 3-month SMA. And like 3-month SMA is something that I use for this particular strategy as a very good indicator as to how the strategy is performing. So I feel like as it has broken, that the strategy needs to be like analyzed as to what's happening right now. So apart from the backtesting that I did, I collected some data from StockMock. So credits to StockMock for providing excellent data for this. So I did the collected the data for like last 5 years for Bank Nifty, and as you can see on a broader time frame, the results for this strategy are quite good. And for the last year, in which we saw that the drawdown is going on, or the strategy has stopped working, so on a like a broader perspective, the strategy is performing very decently. So as 2022 has just started, like it may recover by the year end. So like nothing to worry from that front. And like the CAGR for the last 5 years is approximately 32.6%, and the last 11 months front testing results that we have got were 25%. So it's like lesser than that, but yeah, like close to the expected CAGR. So we can like trust a bit more on the strategy now. So, what were the key challenges and learnings that I did from this particular project? So the major problem in this strategy is the data collection part, and data is not readily available for the intraday options prices, and so for the 1 minute data that I needed to purchase it from a third-party vendor, and even after the procurement, the data might not be clear. So for example, the time format changed after a couple of years. So those kind of points need to be clarified before the code runs and the logic fails. So after that, the data is cleaned and organized, everything. And after that, the major problem that we can think about is the sampling bias. The sampling bias is something that we are taking the last 2 years of data, which may be a problem, as the strategy has been going on from 2017. So just by doing it on last 2 years, there may be a problem because this period was high volatility, and maybe the strategy may not work in the future, as it did not work in the last 11 years of front testing. And there's also an overcrowding effect, that most of the traders nowadays are getting into this strategy because it's the simplest one. So there may also be an overcrowding effect. So what are the next steps? What did I learn from this strategy, and why did I choose this strategy in the first place? So this strategy was very simple, and I saw a lot of traders do this, and there were a lot of platforms that provided this strategy execution and backtesting very easily. But I chose to do this on my own because I wanted to get a feel of how it's done, and to implement complex adjustments that I needed to do on this very easily, because on the ready-made products available in the market, you cannot do that. So it's best you get to the bottom of it and start doing things from scratch. So the most important questions right now is has this strategy lost its trading edge? So it's an ongoing question, and I'll further assess the front testing data and get to know if the strategy is working or not. And there are some efficiency related issues related to the coding, and that needs to be improved from my end. And I'm also working on multiple different systems which complement this particular strategy. So the strategy level diversification is achieved, and portfolio level hedging is also there. So that's why I'm able to run this strategy confidently, and I'm not worried about its results right now. So that was it from my end. So are there any questions?
Thank you so much
Hi,
for
Kshitij.
such a wonderful presentation. And I feel like the way you have represented the entire project, and especially the results and all those charts, I think it's really a very practical overview that you have given about your project. Very interesting. So by the time we were about to finish, and you were talking about challenges, we have received
Yeah.
so many questions about how to get the data, and about cleaning those data, and also people are very curious about it. So obviously I will
Okay.
not there are certain questions. So the first one that I'm seeing here is asked by Nitesh Kumar. So he asks, from where and how did you get the data? And following question is, what is the cost of getting this type of data for several years?
All right. So I first of all, as a disclaimer, I don't have any association with any data vendor. So at that point of time, I found multiple data sources. I found data easily available on the web as well, but the reliability on that data was very less. So I could not rely on it to work effortlessly. So the best thing that I could do was I got the data from global data feeds, and they provided me with excellent data on a day-to-day basis, which I needed. and the cost for that, it's approximately like depends on what data you are getting. So you can check out their website and like contact them for like the quotation and everything. So
Okay, I hope.
I had multiple other projects going on, so I procured the data for that like collectively.
Okay, okay.
So it
So
may be different
a
for
lot
you.
of okay. Yeah, so it basically depends on the kind of requirement. So you can directly get in touch with the data vendor, and wherever you get the best result, probably best cost, you can try that out, and that shall help. Okay, now this question was asked by a lot of people, so I will not be picking all those questions which are talking about where to purchase this data, because so there are so many people who are asking this question. So the next one is by Girish Khemani. So Girish asks, do you execute the program manually, or have automated using cloud platforms?
So I did not like automate it initially on the cloud, and like initially what I used to do was like I used to start the system manually every day in the morning, like before 9:15 a.m. and like I did not have to close it up at the day end. So every day morning I just had to start the like system, and after so in the front testing part, while I was like executing that, so in the last 2 months I've started executing on cloud. Yeah,
Okay,
so like
so
now I'm not doing manually.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. So I hope that answers the question, Girish. The next one is by Prakash. So the question is, how did you choose which stock to sell straddle in, and how far was the typical stop loss relative to premium? So how did you choose which stock to sell straddle and straddle in, and how far was the typical stop loss relative to the premium?
So the whole strategy and the script that I'm doing it on is only on the index. So it's Nifty index and the Bank Nifty index. I'm not doing it on stocks because of like liquidity issues and other issues. So further, when the liquidity improves, it may be done. And the stocks currently are like available for the monthly expiries only. They're not available for weekly expiries. So Nifty and Bank Nifty indexes are available for weekly expiries, which gives us a good theta decay. That's what like the strategy banks on. So I'm not doing it on stocks right now. I'm only doing it on indexes.
Okay, okay, all right. And this question asked by Anil is also talking about the options data, but this question has a sub question, like part of it. It is how did you clean the data?
So I did trial and error. I'll give you an example. So let's say the data from 2019 to 2020, it was available in the format of so the timestamp for the 9 a.m. part. So it was 9 uh, dash and DD and then YY. So it was not 09, it was just 9. And after 2020, they started like giving the data on like 09 basis. 0930 something like that. So that was a problem for my logic. Like when I'm executing my logic, it was a problem. So I had to like see till when the data was available in a particular format, and when did it change, how did it change, why did it change, and try to rectify that. And there are a lot of days on which for example, Diwali Muhurat trading, and sometimes the budget happens on a weekend, and some days like Feb 24 of 2021, there was a glitch by NSE. So the data like stopped streaming for quite a while, and then after market also the market was open, and there was a problem that way. So those kind of days need to be rectified. So for example, as you some people might have noticed, let me show you. So in this, the line 488, you can see it's 24th Feb 2021, and there is NAN everywhere. So it means that the code, the strategy did not qualify for me on that day, and that was the day when the glitch happened and the data was not like continuous. So for that day, it's not like counting the strategy in. So practically, if we had performed on that day, we would have been on a good profit. But like I do not like to include those days on backtesting. So those need to be manually removed. Nothing can be done.
Okay, okay. So it requires a lot of effort. That's what I
Yeah,
understand. And try an error, and then you establish a method. Okay. And it can be different for different trading instruments, and you have to try them out basically. Okay. All right,
right.
understood. Okay. The next one is about. So I hope that answer you find it sufficient. Now the next one is by Pratik. So Pratik asks, what was the stop loss you use for the strategy?
So I tested the stop losses from like 5% to 50%, and the 15% to 35% band was very like giving good results. So I did like the testing on 17, 19, 20, 21 till like 35% as well. And based on that, like somewhere between like 25 to 30%, I thought the best like stop loss was. So you need to test it on like Nifty and Bank Nifty separately. So I'm talking about Bank Nifty right now.
Okay. Okay, so I think so many questions. I'm not able to. I won't be able to. Sorry, but won't be able to pick all of them here. So this one is for this particular presentation. This is going to be the last question, and this one is asked by Arsh. Arsh asks, considering you did not have a background in computer programming, did you face any challenges? If yes, how did you overcome them? And how did the EPAT program help you overcome these problems?
So yeah, very nicely pointed out that I did not have a background in computer engineering. So I like started with Python myself. I like from the college itself, I had a very slight idea of C++. So I started with Python and like slowly tried to build on it. But when it comes to complex projects, it becomes very difficult. So that is the primary reason that I joined EPAT. So I wanted like to completely automate my systems, and I was like weak in programming. So the best help that I was seeking from QuantInsti EPAT was on the coding front. And like when I joined the program, like doing it from completely basics, the models being explained in Excel to like slowly building on Python, and then like going into very complex projects as well. So that helped me. Like every session, like I used to get templates for a lot of strategies. So those snippets helped, and the support from the like my mentor and the QuantInsti team support, that was like immense. So any problem that I used to face, I just needed to contact them and rectify it. So like I did not used to like get what's going wrong in my code initially. So slowly I try to build on that, and now I'm like quite comfortable thanks to like the mentorship that you guys offered.
Okay, that's some amazing answer. Thank you so much, and so kind of you. All right, so I think now I would also like to. Renato, are you here with us? Renato, can you join us? I think we are about to close this, and before we close, I have a question to both of you, and probably then we can end this session. Hey, Renato, are you there with us? Hey, Renato. Okay, probably he's away from his desk. So now what we will do is I have this last question from Ujjwal. And the question is, do you have any message for aspiring quants and algorithmic traders, like people who really want to get into this domain, based on your journey and experience so far? Do you have any message for them?
So, like what I presented today was a very like simple strategy, and people might think that it's quite easy, and like let's like try to apply it in ourselves as well. So, what I want to convey is that it looks easy on paper, but when you try to do it on by yourself, it becomes very difficult, and it's like highly risky. because like one mistake and what you are doing, what you're selling, like at the money call and put, what you're selling, it becomes highly risky if you're not able to like manage it properly. So like don't just copy the strategy, and just try to get the just what I'm trying to say. So like shifting from discretionary to system based trading was one of my primary like reasons that I joined EPAT. So get your research done, try to get a strategy, try to get to know about more strategies, try to combine uncorrelated strategies, so that like even if one strategy comes into drawdown, your other strategies are doing well. So this current strategy is like my first strategy that I like completely automated, and this strategy is right now in a drawdown phase, and my other systems are like working very fine. So like a combination of them has given me a like a very good diversification right now. So these things cannot be like learned from anywhere. So you need to like test, spend some time with them, and learn on a holistic basis, not just like copy and paste from somewhere. So it's a very big disclaimer as well. Like this is not a trading advice.
Thank you so much for sharing these words of wisdom. And I would like to thank Ujjwal again for taking out your time and coming here, sharing your wonderful EPAT project and sharing this with, by sharing with complete clarity, what is it that you did and how did it perform. So really amazing. I hope our audience enjoyed it. So to all of those who joined late, I just want to highlight this session is going to be recorded and will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. Also, you all of you will receive an email with webinar recording as well as the necessary code and GitHub links basically in the email itself within the next 24 to 48 hours as we process it. So I think yeah, that is about it, and I look forward to host a few more interesting such sessions in the upcoming months as well. So till then, keep loving, keep supporting, and take care, all of you. And thank you, Ujjwal, again. And thank you, everyone. Have a good day ahead.
Thank you, Kshitij. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.